Is the 1 million realistic, Luis?
It's not realistic.
So they're not going to be able to get the $1 million, basically.
No, that I shouldn't have, but I got them 3 offers at like 650, 625, 600 cash offers. He said, my attorney said, don't talk to anybody. Just give me a call after this date.
Are they on the market already or no?
Not yet. His voicemail is, do not call me back. I already listed it. I already have an agent. Do not call me.
Whenever you know that the $1 million is not going to be realistic and they're being that direct and straightforward with you, it does not make sense for you to present an offer at $600,000, Luis.
The only reason why I started doing that, because one guy was arguing with me about wanting 600,000. I went to go see the property. I was telling him the comps are saying like 550, 500. When I went to go see the property, then he showed me he accepted an offer at 460 when he was screaming on the phone that it's worth 600. So that like threw my mind up to like, hey man, this happens.
So a long time ago, when I was a little small boy, I peed my pants and I pooped my pants. Just because that happened, that doesn't mean that that's going to happen or that you're jumping into the right conclusion.
And I think you got to be real mindful of this because, I mean, on these calls, like I've gotten to know you a little bit. I've spoken to you a few times. You get very much so caught in the trap of being right. Like the way you communicate with people has a tinge of like, I'm right or I need to be right. So you need to be like careful of that because you find yourself like, your brain gets locked into like, no, I'm right. And I'm going to prove to you that I'm right. So I'm going to go get all these offers and I'm going to show you, look, you dummy, I'm right. You got to be real careful of that, bro. Because like, it's like your intention, you're more attached to being right than you are like trying to help them solve their problem.
That's great feedback. And I have trouble changing that. That's a real feedback.
I know. And it's okay. So it's good. But like you can't change what you're not aware of. So remember how I shared with you on the last call? I'm like, yeah, bro, the reason why you have such a hard time with these guys is because you actually don't believe that what you do is different. That's why you have a hard time like defending your commission. And then the second thing I'm noticing is as we're having this conversation, it's like, yeah, bro, you're attached to being right. And you're like, yeah, I'm telling you this. And like, you don't believe me? Fine. I'm going to go look at the property. I'm going to go get you offers and be like, look, dummy, I told you so. And it's like, okay, what are we accomplishing there? Not much. So like I remember I had a mentor tell me one time, he's like, hey man, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? And I'm like, well, I'd rather be rich. He's like, okay, so then stop being focused on trying to be right. Instead, focus on what's the problem and how can I help you to solve the problem? And when somebody's like, what Jose's saying is true, when somebody's being that direct with me, I'd be like, listen, man, I'd love to put an S on my chest and a cape on my back and get you $1 million. I really would. Because obviously we get compensated more when we help you to sell it for more. At the same time, gosh, man, I'm looking here at these numbers and I can see what investors have been paying for properties like this. I don't know if you're aware of this. There's 2 here and they average around like 650, like in that range. I mean, if you knew through no fault of your own or mine that was going to be realistic, I mean, what do you think you would do? Like just, but notice I'm not like, that's not coming from a place of I'm right and you're wrong. That's not coming from a place of like, okay, well, I'd like to enter into exhibit. Like, I feel like in a way you're like you feel like you're in a courtroom of law and you're like, well, I'd like to enter into exhibit A as to why you're a ridiculous idiot and you don't know what this needs to be at price wise. You know what I'm saying? So instead it's like, gosh, trust me, I'd love to like be able to help you to get that amount, put an S on my chest, cape on my back and get you 2 million while we're at it. At the same time, man, I'm looking at these numbers and I'm very familiar with what investors are willing to pay. And I'd like to share some of that data with you because I'm not, perhaps it could be helpful or useful to you. Would that be okay? Yeah, that's fine. Where I'm looking here's one on 1265 Plum Street, which is 2 streets over. It was needed to be completely gutted or whatever. It sold at this date and this is what it sold for. Did you know that? No, I didn't know that. Yeah, here's another one on 1265 Banana and that's 4 streets over, 5 streets over. It's in the same community. And it was a foreclosure and here's what they sold at. Did you know that? No, I didn't know that. So let me ask you this. If you were an investor, not a seller, but if you were a buyer, and let's say you came to me and you were like, hey, Aaron, I want to make sure that I'm, because investors are all about the numbers. I want to make sure these numbers work. And I want you to show me what has sold and closed most recently. And I show you this data. I mean, honestly, as an investor, as a buyer, where do you think you'd feel comfortable making an offer that you believe would be reflective of fair market value? And then be quiet. Let them self-discover. Yeah. I think your kind of belief system has been up until this point. Somewhere along the lines, you gulp down from experiences that you had, that the only way to get people to see your point of view is to try to be forceful and to try to like rub their nose in it. When it's like, well, all that does is make people feel stupid and dumb and they're not going to want to talk to you. Versus if I come from like, hey, look, trust me, I'd love to help you to get that amount. Here's what we're seeing. And then I reverse it on you. I'm like, if you were in these shoes, like, what would you do? And then be quiet and let them self-discover.
I think also too, Luis, is this following a process as well too? When we role played right now, you're like, You're like, hey, look, I'm not doing nothing for 30 days. And my response was, hey, look, if I had a buyer, is that something that you would entertain? And then you were like, yes, I would. I said, great. What's a good day for us to get together? That way we can bring this person to you or at least pop by and take a look at the property. What am I doing? I'm following a process. Like, meaning like, hey, look, I know the first step in that process is to set an appointment. Then before I go out there, the next step in the process is to qualify the lead and get a better idea as to like what's realistic and what's not realistic. And then I'm going to be presenting. Step 2 is qualify. Step 3 is send a pre-list or a pre-listing package of information. Step 4 is a call to confirm. And step 5 is to present. What I'm going to be doing during that point is when I'm presenting, I'm going over the different options that they have at their disposal. But as I'm qualifying them, like, when you mentioned to me that you had that one lead that that had said that he had said that his house was worth 600,000, and then he ended up taking that offer at 460. Like, obviously, you're not going to be able to prevent that 100% from happening, but in the prequal, if you ask enough questions in the pre-qualification process or in the qualifying of the lead, you should be able to know what is more probable to happen. Let's say that we had that situation where it's like, look, I set that appointment for the person interested in a cash offer at 600,000. I'm going to set the appointment. I'm going to be like, hey, look, like, I'm happy to go out and take a look at the property. Great. Before I come out, there's a number of questions I need to ask you just to make sure that I'm fully prepared and I could really be a best service. Great. So let's say that I'm able to get you an offer at 600,000, Lise. And let's say that obviously that works for you. Is the plan for you to purchase anything else after that, or are you just looking to cash out on the property?
Cash out.
And Luis, was that a probate or expired, or what was the lead source on it?
Just the one that accepted a cash offer was an investor. Was originally a for sale by owner on one property, but he had to sell the property to him about.
Okay, so basically a for sale by owner, basically. Okay, great. So let's say we make you an offer at the 600,000, and let's say you like obviously that offer. If I'm able to make you the offer, are you planning on purchasing anything else, or are you just looking to cash out on the property?
Cash out. I have 2 minutes.
Okay, no problem. And let me ask you this. And in terms of timing, what's an ideal time frame for you to close on this property?
ASAP.
ASAP. Got it. Okay, so here's the way that I work, Luis. I'm pretty direct. I'm pretty straightforward. Obviously, I don't want to waste people's time. You mentioned $600,000 for the property, right? Would you ever consider something in the $450,000 range?
No. I mean, I'm working with the neighbor's interested. I might just go with her.
Yeah.
Save the real estate commission.
Of course. And what would she offer? What would the neighbor offer you?
That's what we're working out. She's getting qualified right now. So that's why I don't want to list it with you yet.
Yeah. And I completely obviously understand. And let me ask you this. If the neighbor bought it, how would you guys take care of the paperwork?
Go to escrow.
So here's a service, Luis, that may be beneficial to you. If the neighbor buys it, we actually have a program where we charge a flat fee where we will handle all the paperwork for you and we'll handle the closing process for you.
For how much?
In case we actually charge a flat fee of $10,000 for that service.
No, that's okay. I know how to.
Okay. So you would just basically take care of it yourself, basically, in other words.
Yeah.
Got it. And let me ask you this, like, if you knew that in order to get the $600,000, or let me ask you this, if you aren't able to get the $600,000 privately, what would be the game plan there?
We'll see. Well, I'll probably sell. I might sell it by owner, or we'll see what you got.
Let me ask you this, though. If you knew that in order to get the $600,000, it would be required that you put the property on the open market, is that something that you would be open to?
That's why you and I are talking.
Okay, so you would actually consider putting the property on the open market, basically, in other words.
Yeah. How much are you going to charge me?
I'm willing to work with you. So I'm the owner of the company. I don't have a set commission that I charge. I try to be flexible, just depending on whatever the client's needs are. Is there a certain commission structure that would work for you?
Other agents have said they do it for 1%, 1.5%.
Would you ever consider a performance-based listing? Once you qualify, Luis, it's like, okay, what solution do I have that's going to increase the probabilities of us being able to do business?